Hey, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have something really different for us to look at in Cricut Design Space. So grab your favorite beverage and let's get down to it. We are working on a shaped card front. So this is something a little different. I don't think I have a YouTube tutorial on this one yet. I have done it before, it's been a while, but I decided to try to tackle it in a tutorial. So let's see if we can make this work. First off, let's just take a look at the picture here. You can see that the card has a card base that folds, has a sentiment, and has a shaped card front that little Penelope Poppy sits on top of. All right, let's take a look at how we made this happen. First, I brought in Penelope Poppy, which is a digital image from Connie Fong. I also have my sentiment just saying hello. And I brought in digital paper from Polkadoodle's Mammoth Dinosaur bundle. I started off by just making a rectangle, which was going to be 8.5 by 5.5. I know that when I fold this in half, I'm going to end up with a card blank that is 4.25 by 5.5. So then I brought in little Penelope Poppy here and decided, okay, how big do I want her to be? I landed on a size of 3.35 by 5.07. I'm going to keep this rectangle close by because we're going to be referring to it often. I'm going to come in now and I'm going to get a rectangle over here in shapes. I'm actually going to pull in a square. I'm going to change the color to white. I know I want it to be 5.5 inches tall, so I'm going to unlock this, change my height to 5.5. I'm just typing that in at my keyboard. I also know that I want the extent of it to be 8.5. But I also know that my little image has to go on there. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset her at 0.042. So I'm going to select her, left click offset, go to 0.042, and to get there I may have to use the arrows on my keyboard here. And I'm going to say apply. I'm going to change that to white. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to offset her again. But I'm not offsetting her, I'm offsetting her offset. So I'm going to choose the offset. So you can see that it's chosen over here in our right-hand panel. I'm going to say offset. I'm offsetting that at 0.111. And I'll hit apply. Okay, so I'm going to choose the one that is colored black right now, bring it out. I'm going to take her and I'm going to go ahead and flatten her to that original offset, the one that was at 0.042. That's going to be the Penelope that I color for my card. So let's flatten that. And now that's finished and ready for my card. Now this offset, I'm going to change to white. I'm doing that by left clicking that black color square, and now I will left click that. Just so you can see it for a moment, let's change it back to basic. This is just so you can see the outline, okay? I know that I want her to extend, I want her to be centered, and I want her to extend to almost the very edge of my card here. And I want her pretty much centered here. Okay, if we bring this up, there we go. If we bring this up, you can see here, okay, now you can see this. You can see that I have this pretty much centered, but I have her closer to the bottom of the card where she sits in. So now all I have to do is extend this over as far as I want it. And you can make that decision where you want her. I'm going to go ahead and remove this black. Select them both, and you can see that this is going to measure 8.45. Okay, this one measures 8.49. That's pretty close. All I have to do now is come down and say combine, weld. And there's my shaped card. I know that it's going to fold. And again, this is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I can bump this in like so, come to 4 1/4, which is right here, and add the score line. There's 4 1/4. And see here where it says X. When I click this, it says 4.26. There it is, 4.25. Extend it down. And there it is. Right now, I'm just going to group that. So now I can move this and it'll stay together. It is not, however, attached. Okay? So hang on, we'll get there. All right, let's set that aside for a minute. And let's pull up this one more time. We'll pull this so you can see. We need to get our sentiment. I chose to pull in this sentiment from Connie Fong, and it is from the Maisie and Corey Mice bundle. And what I did is I used the hello on the inside and the just saying on the outside. All right, well, it comes in as 1. That's just 1. So how in the world am I going to get that separated? All right, let's take a look at this. First thing I'm going to do is bring in a shape. I'm going to bring in a square, and I'm going to bring in a little oval here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this across. Now, I could just take this now and I could select it all and hit slice. But I can't do that because I'm going to cut off my Y and part of my G. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a special mask just to slice this. All right. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to take this little oval. I'm going to copy it, Command C, Command V on my computer. I'm going to stick this right over the top of that, right over the top of that. See the little thing that's sticking up right here? I'm just placing that right over the top of it. Again, just placing it right over the top of this little piece right here, the little H. Okay, now I'm going to, over here in this right panel, I am going to, on my keyboard, hit my Command key. I'm going to, with my right hand at the mouse, I'm clicking oval, oval, square. And I'm going to combine those, weld. That has made a piece that will go ahead and slice this out. So I'm going to take my weld result. I'm going to come find my sentiment, which is right here. I'm going to hit Command. I'm choosing this piece, and I'm going to slice. And now I have sliced those into 2 different pieces. So now I can separate them. Isn't that cool? All right, so I can get rid of this. I'm just going to delete that on my keyboard. So we can take this and we can turn it by doing it this way. You just simply put this down here by this right-hand bottom corner until the little turn arrow comes up. You can turn it and you can see up here. And I want it exactly 270, so I'm just going to go ahead and type that in at my keyboard. Now I'm going to bring it in. I know I don't want this sentiment to run into Penelope, so let's just bring her up here and make sure. Let's bring her to the front. Let's set her in place here and make sure that I have my sentiment where I want it. I can adjust this by making it bigger, smaller. I can do with it whatever I like there. And I think that looks pretty good right there. At this point, I'm going to ungroup this piece and the fold line. Okay, so all I do is ungroup. Now I can move this to the back. All right, now I can select these 2 pieces like so, and I can flatten. Move this to the back. My fold line is back. The score line is back. Now I can take it and attach. And that's ready. We're done with that piece. And that will print then cut. All right, now the inside piece. Let's bring back that gray rectangle. Let's line this up. We know we want a rectangle that will fit inside that score line and extend to the end of her little flowers. That way, when we close the card, this part of the card goes against the flowers. All right? So we're going to create a piece that can sit inside there that we can sign, but we'll also have this pretty pattern to show up behind her. So we come over to Shapes, pull in a square, turn it into a rectangle, and we can just set it right here on top and know that we're getting the size we want. So even if I take out the one that we did before, let's change this to yellow so you can see what we're doing. Let's line this up exactly. I can align to the left and align at the bottom there. Now I can bring this in and I can tell exactly where that's going to sit. Now, if I want to make sure that this is going to sit exactly where I want it, all I need to do is come over to this yellow rectangle over here and move it behind this piece. So I just pull, and now I can tell that this yellow piece is going to be the right size. Now I can make it a little bit longer if I like. There we go. All right, now I can come in and pull in a patterned paper, a digital pattern paper. I do that by changing this from a basic cut to a printing cut. Click the yellow square, choose pattern, and I can choose any pattern I like. So let's see if I can find that one real quickly. Okay, now I can come in and edit this pattern and make it larger. There we go. Just by sliding this over. I can also move it up and down, right and left. And there we are. Now to get this part in so we can write, Again, I'm going to pull in another shape, square, bring it in, turn it into a rectangle. And here we have to be a little bit careful because, again, we want to keep it behind this. So let's move this back to the front. And let's just line up everything again. So we know this is going to come in about right here. And we know that this has to stay behind here. So we actually can bring this up and move it this way, seeing where the outline is, but still not extending past this line right here where the card is. All right, now we can take this all away. I can move that slightly to the right to bump it out just a little bit. Again, we can bring this back. Again, we can always come over here to this and look here also. We can pull up this and see where the line is underneath here. Okay, so here I can choose her, but then I can go back. I want that square. There it is. I can see it right there. Coming over to this right-hand column here, I can pull up anything I want to see. Okay, I like where that is situated. I'm going to take this away. I'm going to change this to white. I'm going to bring in my hello. I need to move it back to the front by right-clicking, bring to front. I'm going to resize. Bring it in. Resize again. I can stick this anywhere I like. Choose it all with my mouse. Come over here to this right-hand column again. Come to the bottom where it says flatten. And there it is, flattened. Okay, we have our card base right here. This is going to fit in behind the card base, so let's move this to the front. She will now come to the front because we're going to color her. I'll color her with Copics, but you could color with whatever color medium you choose. And then we'll just glue her into place on the front of the card. So let's go over, let's take a look at how we put this together at the craft table. Very quick put together. It takes about a minute and a half. All right, let's head over there and get it done. Here we are at the craft table. I have everything printed and I have everything colored. So here's that card base with the shaped front. Here's Penelope Poppy all colored. And here's our inside sentiment. So now you're going to get to see how this all works and fits together. You can see that the little rectangle fits right underneath there, but we have to be really careful when we glue this into place so that we see that it still stays underneath that card front. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this in with some ATG. Then I'm going to adhere Penelope Poppy with ATG and a little bit of fabric tack just because that gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And that's all I'm going to do to this card. I'm not adding any embellishments. I'm just going to leave it simple and plain here and show off our shaped front. Hey, thanks so much for joining me today for this video. Hope you got something out of it. Any comments or questions, leave them in the box below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Wishing you a wonderful week, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye.